Irene Wilkins here, and I am in your business, coming to you as the business solutionist here to help solve problems going on in your business. So today's topic, much like many of the topics we discuss, are extremely important inside of your business. And today's topic is one of my favorite, emotional intelligence, dot, dot, dot inside of your business. So, of course, having emotional intelligence is important in life, but it's actually a component of your business that is very neat, and a lot of people don't understand what it is. So, we're going to get started today talking about that, how you can apply emotional intelligence inside of your business starting today, and how it's going to improve the quality of your business as well as um, the loyalty with your clients or your customers. So, let's get going. What is emotional intelligence? At any point, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment. I will be here to answer as many as possible while I am in your business today. And so, emotional intelligence is one of my favorite topics because it is so underrated. Um, Emotional intelligence is really understanding how you feel, how to incorporate your feelings inside of your business professionally. So I know we have all seen individuals who, um, make a post about how upset they are with a client or a customer, or maybe they have a business, or maybe you've done it unintentionally, but there's a business out there, and instead of writing in their policies or procedures, new rules or deposits that need to be made in order to acquire services, what people do is they sometimes go on a rant on social media. Listen up. You got to pay $25 to book with me, or I'm not working with you. You understand? I don't have time to play with you guys. And then they end on that note. Now, of course, they're going to have individuals who are like, girl or home, whoever it is, tell them how you want to deal with your business. But in all actuality, there's a lot of individuals watching who will never work with a person who does that, just because how they chose to approach a professional situation, lacking professionalism in their approach. So, what was missing there? A piece of that was emotional intelligence, understanding that they are frustrated. They're tired of somebody working inside, somebody being a client or a potential client, booking an appointment, not following through with it. That is a normal feeling. You don't want your time wasted. No one wants to work really hard to develop a business and then feel like they're not getting paid their worth, or to the time that they put into setting aside an appointment, and then there's a no call, no show, and there's no consequences for that. So that feeling is natural. The way that you respond, I feel like I have to sneeze. The way that you respond, that is where professionalism comes in, and a heightened emotional intelligence, what we call it EQ. Just like your IQ, you are able to measure your intelligence emotionally, or like knowledge-based intelligence. So I want to give you guys some key ways that you can do this to improve your business right now. So just to give you some statistics here, there was a study done with, almost 3,000 employees. So if you don't have employees yet, that's okay. The goal is to eventually get people to work for you in your business so that you can do the things that you want to travel, spend time with family, things like that. Well, there was a study done of almost 3,000 people, employees to be exact, and 71% of them said, they would stick with the company if the management displayed emotional intelligence, if they were able to understand how their employees felt, solve the problems that were there, and then execute it in such a way that it made the employees feel comfortable to come to them and talk about what's going on in the workplace. So in the same regard, even if you don't have actual employees right now, you still want to set up your business to run just like you would if you had someone working for you, because eventually you will. And you don't want to set it up then when you're already in your flow of things. So, EQ, emotional intelligence, it's a combination of about 5 things, okay? So, one of those things is self awareness. Being self-aware and being blunt in your self-awareness are 2 totally different things. There's a lot of people who are like, look, I say whatever's on my mind. I have no filter. You got to accept this or else. That is a piece of self-awareness. However, it's not a productive piece of self-awareness because you want to be aware of your behaviors, both the ones that you can work on and the ones that are really, really good. But you need to know how to navigate with people being aware. If you understand that when you're hungry, you get angry, also known as hangry, then you may not want to have conversations with potential clients before you've eaten. You get what I mean? It's just that simple at times. Self awareness. Listen, if I have not eaten, I'm going to be rude. I'm going to be less patient with people. So instead of making appointments, going straight through your lunch, take a break, eat, replenish yourself, and then come back with that professionalism that should be there 100% of the time, even when people rub you the wrong way. So it's understanding self awareness, you guys, understanding your likes, your dislikes, your strengths, your weaknesses, what type of moods and emotions that you have, and how it affects other people based on how you project that. Yes, we all project things. So by you projecting certain behaviors, certain moods, there's going to be a response to that. We've all heard it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So imagine if someone is wanting to work with you, or if someone does work with you and they feel you are being rude to them. That's going to present a problem and it could cost you a potential client or a customer. So, number 2 is going to be self regulation, being able to express yourself maturely and with restraint. This is so important. How many people snap on someone? Or how many times have you seen on social media where someone is just blatantly rude and you're like, they have no filter? Well, having self-regulation, being able to self-regulate means that if you see a situation, this is a part of wisdom as well. If you see a situation inside of your business going left, you're going to handle it with grace. You're going to handle it professionally. Even if you don't want to work with that individual again, if this individual was extremely difficult according to your standards, and you realize, you know what, this isn't a working relationship that I really want to deal with, that's okay. Finish the job, make sure that you are mature in how you handle it. And in my class last night, so you guys, I teach a class Tuesdays and Thursdays at a university about business. And so inside the class, one of the things that we talked about, or that we continuously talk about, is how you respond. And I gave a suggestion. I always give the suggestion. Everything that is a rule. Every type of way that you want to be treated inside of your business should be in writing. If you don't want to take someone coming in late to an appointment, have it in writing. It's much easier to articulate when it's in writing versus you telling someone, hey, if you show up late again, I'm going to charge you. Now, that's okay. But what happens is, depending on your mood, again, if you're irritated because that person came late and you express it in an irritating way, or in the person can hear the irritation inside of your voice, then the effects are going to be much more negative than you would even like. So, in order to eliminate that, have it in writing. If you show up late, next appointment, you'll be charged a $15 late fee, or whatever it is that you see fit that equates to the time that you've lost. You are benefiting from that by charging a late fee or something like that. But the regulation of your emotions is extremely important, because when we act on impulse, we all know what happens with that. Sometimes we need to apologize. Sometimes people, judge you based off of that one experience with you, and it could cost you a lot more than you would like. It could cost you not only one potential client or one customer, but it can cause future ones as well, because one bad experience is shared upwards to 20 times versus a good experience, which I believe is about 12 times. So then another component of emotional intelligence for you guys to really understand about yourself is internal motivation. So people who have a high level of EQ, that's what we're going to call it right now. EQ are self-motivated. They are usually working towards pursuing their goals, self-development, self-gratification rather than just money gratification. And so by understanding yourself and being motivated internally, it doesn't allow for you to be swayed so much by others' behavior. And um, I watched a video recently. I loved it. It was from a psychologist, and that psychologist was sharing how emotions are data. And a lot of times, what she said, I completely resonate with. I share it with individuals. One of the things that she said that really stuck out to me is that we live in a society that tells us like we always have to be happy. If you're upset about something, get over it, is essentially how people approach you in life. Oh, you're going through something? Well, just be strong. Get over it. You don't need to worry about how that made you feel. And when people do that, even if their intentions aren't ill, like if they don't mean to be rude or any of those things, insensitive, really what that does is when you ignore your emotions, you are setting yourself up to hold the stuff in internally, which is actually bad for your health, your physical health, your mental health, because you need to be able to accept how you feel in a moment that you feel it. Now, how you respond to how you feel is what differentiates an emotionally intelligent person between someone who is emotionally immature. I really want you guys to think about that. If you are bothered by something, if you're happy about something, you are allowed to process that. And that's what the psychologist said, is that the feelings that you have, the emotions that you have is data being processed inside of your body. So if someone walked up to you, if someone wanted to work with you, came in, sat down, they had a bad day and they were extremely rude to you. We're not talking about maybe you took it the wrong way. We're like talking about, so how much is this going to cost? Could you hurry up? Because you're taking too much of my time. You know what? I don't like how you're sitting. Like if someone really came to you that way, the natural reaction is going to be discomfort, is going to be offense. These are things that maybe irritation. These are things that are natural. So when someone tells you like, oh, you shouldn't be bothered by that, they're essentially telling you not to feel and respond the way you just naturally do. Now, how you worked that out, yes, you can come out of that fairly quickly. You can choose not to take it personal. You can choose to, what I like to call is a 24-hour reset. It can be 1 hour, it can be 30-minute reset. But basically, what that is acknowledging how you feel in a moment, working through that, saying, I'm upset right now, or I'm upset because I didn't like how that person spoke to me. 1 second, guys. I get so excited and I'm like, okay, breathe. Um, so sometimes I'm like, oh, I need to drink some water. Excuse me. But basically, when you acknowledge that and you say, you know what, I am upset. I did not like the way that person spoke to me. I'm probably not going to do business with them. Good afternoon, Toya. You are essentially saying, I feel how I feel, and I'm working through it. And that's as vulnerable and as real as it gets. And the more you do that in life, the easier and the better life will be, because you're not lying to yourself. See, if that same scenario happens, someone's talking to you sideways, yelling at you, and you're like, I don't care. That didn't affect me. What you're doing is you're lying to yourself. If it did affect you, most people, it would affect them. Maybe some people are like, yeah, I didn't, hey, you know? But because of that, if you were to say, yeah, I'm not bothered, nothing bothers me, I don't trip off of anything, you've been lying to yourself. And you cannot heal, you cannot grow to the capacity that you need to if you're not able to be honest with even you. So that is a form of emotional immaturity. Being so trying to control so much of the situation that you are essentially acting like nothing bothers you. And what it does is it chips away at your emotional intelligence until you become someone who doesn't connect emotionally. And if you don't connect with people emotionally, that's kind of part of the essence of humans, right? Being able to connect some type of way. When you are making friends, you find a connection. When you have a child, you become connected to that child by bonding emotionally, physically, holding your kids, holding loved ones. All of those things are a part of connections. So if you are not emotionally connected to yourself, how can you be emotionally connected to others? And inside of your business, you guys, you are not in a business to actually sell products. You're in business to create solutions to a problem. Every product or service that you have is essentially a solution to a problem. And when you learn how to market that way, that's how you find success. Because a lot of people market in a way that says, hey, I got a product for you, just buy it. And some people start to support you and they buy it. Some people are like, cool, I've been following you for a while. You seem cool. Let me buy something from you. But for that to continue on, it has to be more than you just posting and saying, buy my product. Why should they buy your product? So emotional connection inside of your business is one of the key things that you need to have success. So our next portion of emotional intelligence is empathy, the ability to understand others based on how they feel, is so important. It's the reason why we sell a solution versus a product or a service. Somebody sells clothing and they sell clothes that fit, a certain body type. That is a connection that you can create by saying, like, we understand that you're feeling insecure, or maybe you're feeling insecure about your body right now. Well, we sell this type of product to help hide some of those things that are intimate parts of you. No one needs to, you don't have to share certain things. There's just so many ways to market in that regard, but it's being empathetic to your customer or your client's pain point. Empathy needs to be a part of everyone's life, although everyone, due to the fact of what I just talked about, because a lot of people have learned to harden their emotions, they lack empathy. So the things that bother others, they're like, why are you so bothered by this? Like, get over it, which is a lack of empathy. And in order for you to have a successful business, you guys, you have to display empathy. Think about it. Look at every successful company in the next couple of days that you can and see what they practice. Empathy means they understand their customers are frustrated with long lines and disgruntled employees. And so they create a system or systems, they create a company that understands these things and gives you employees that are respectful, gives you quick, fast services, but quality as well. Then now they've created a different environment of success. So unlike sympathy, um, empathy actually involves sharing an emotional experience that another person is having. So I myself am highly empathetic. So I am moved by people. When someone is crying in front of me, my eyes immediately start to water because I connect with, like, you must be in a lot of pain. And that's taken me very far inside of my business to be able to connect with someone, because over the course of the last year, I've had an enormous amount of people come to me and say, I'm opening up to you about things that I've actually never shared with a stranger, or I've never shared with anyone. And it'll never be shared but from me. I'll never share that information. But what it does is it lets me know the high level of empathy that I provide in my business, to where not only do people come to me for coaching, but then they open up about personal points in their life where they just need relief. It started with business and then goes into personal. And that's why I tell a lot of people, you can try to separate your business life from your personal life, but it's you. So there's only one you. You can turn on the professionalism Monday through Friday, turn up on the personal side, during the weekend. Absolutely, you can do that. But it's very hard when you're running your own business to disconnect from yourself. It's very, like, literally almost impossible. So, displaying empathy is going to be a huge, huge secret sauce for you guys inside of your business. And I guarantee you, a lot of business owners that right now do not display a high level of empathy. And so they're wondering why they're not getting the sales that they want. They're wondering why um, people aren't coming back for services. It's because they're not connecting on a certain level with their clients or their customers. And so if you find yourself dealing with that, you really want to visit, like, am I emotionally connected in any type of business that you have? Whether you were selling paper clips, I love using paper clips as an example, because it's like, oh, someone found success actually putting papers together with a clip, right? But even those businesses have connected in a way. Like, I know you guys are frustrated with your papers flying all over the place, being, disorganized. Here, let us understand how you feel and create a solution for you. So that is what you want to do. The fifth way that you can be emotionally intelligent inside of your business is to develop people skills. Now, these are soft skills. So soft skills are very hard to learn if you weren't taught them. Like learning how to smile. If you're used to just having this type of face all day, reminding yourself that when you answer the phone, hi, Irene speaking, how are you? And actually smiling while you speak, people can hear that over the phone. Let's try it. Hi, this is Irene. How can I help you? Hi, this is Irene. How can I help you? You see the difference in my voice. It's developing those soft skills that's going to help people come to you and want to do business with you. So emotionally intelligent people actually build trust and respect with others through their people skills, which would be things like, smiling. It would be things like listening, learning to have a listening ear, understanding, being empathetic, caring, genuinely caring. I don't want you to pretend like you care inside of your business. It's important for you to actually care. Why? Because you created this business for longevity. You created this business for revenue. You hopefully created this business to actually make a difference in individuals' lives, because money is not the root of happiness. Money can help when you're having moments of happiness, right? You having a roof over your head, being able to travel, all those things, you need money to do it. But you cannot have a successful business. Well, let me rephrase that. Have businesses found success when the founder was money driven? Yes. But usually what happens is eventually they get tired of it because it's not purpose driven. So with your people skills, in your emotional intelligence, you want to be purpose driven. So I want you to pay attention to that. Understand, here's some more facts. People with high EQ stay calm better, much better under pressure. So what is entrepreneurship? Pressure. Entrepreneurship is pressure, risk, high stress level environment at any given point. Um, Someone who is a business coach that I now have got $20,000 stolen at 4 o'clock in the morning out of her bank account. That's a high level stress situation. Now imagine if she would have got on social media cursing the storm, you know, just like, I can't believe this. And when I find these people, guess what? You know how many, now that happened to her personally, right? But imagine how many people potentially could have been clients of hers that are like, man, that's not how I want, like, I don't want to do business with someone who acts like that. Yes, it happens. And yes, depending on your target market might be individuals who love drama. Okay, if you identify with that, that's okay. But having those high levels of emotional intelligence, most businesses want to be seen as professional, calm, have integrity, things like that. So if you work on the emotional intelligence, you'll be able to be calmer in stressful situations. You'll be able to lead by example. Um, you'll listen to others and then speak. Um, Criticism is a huge part of emotional intelligence. People coming to you criticizing your business practices, why your prices are so high, things like that, it's hard sometimes because you're like, my prices are this high because I worked to for the skill set to be able to charge these fees. But that's not something that you would actually say to an individual, right? Like, there's no purpose in being like, because I can. That is a lack of emotional intelligence. But what you can do is you can vocalize that, or you can verbalize it written or out loud to get that point across. With over 15 years of experience, my expertise, dot, 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 dot. And so now you're showing, yeah, you deserve to charge these fees because you've been doing this for 15 years. Of course I can, but I always say, do things in writing, guys. It's the best way. When you write, you're able to actually take a moment. You can erase it, put it in your policies and things like that. But you can fine tune it. You can have someone with another professional eye, or just someone who would potentially be someone that a trusted person, to be able to look over your policies and say, you know what, this is kind of harsh, or maybe you reword this different, or this is perfect. This is going to get the point across, but it's in a professional manner. You don't have to go off on anyone, things like that, because we never want to do that, right? Really, not just because sometimes you feel like a person deserves it, um, but we don't want to do those things because it's about your self-control. Like, letting someone see you out of element, out of your norm, is too much control for an individual to have over you. There's no purpose for that. And if you start thinking about it that way, I'm in control of my response, my reaction, um, how I move, my grace, my poise. It'll allow you to get over situations quickly. It'll allow you to get over them fairly quickly. And you're setting the tone. Maybe you do have employees, maybe you have volunteers who are watching you. And if the leadership is not where it should be, we've seen that in companies. It's a trickle effect. Now others inside of your business that work with you are thinking it's okay for them to talk a certain way or to be treated a certain way. And then guess what? It's a ripple effect. People take that home. If they're irritated at work, they can come home irritated, and take it out on the family and things like that. So this is so much bigger than just one little piece inside of your business. This can potentially make or break your business. It can make or break your employees. And then think about what that would do to their families, as well. So, super important for you to pay attention to. So, how can you increase your emotional intelligence? Here's some things you can do. Pause before you're speaking, acting or responding. So there's a scripture that I love. Be be quick to listen, slow to anger, slow to speaking. It's not always easy, but the principle is right in here. If you pause before you're speaking, it gives you time to think about your response instead of just responding or reacting to what someone is saying to you. It allows for like that initial irritation or offense that you might be feeling. It allows for you to take a moment and see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is, you know, the example you set. The bigger picture is professionalism, how you want to be seen inside of your business. And one bad response can cost you your whole business. If it wasn't like that before, we are definitely living in a time now where you don't even have to be at work. You don't even have to be inside of your business. You can be out and about. And if you say something disrespectful, it gets caught on camera, and shared with the world, that's all it takes to shut your business down, for people to boycott you, for we've seen it, for you to have to shut your social media down because of the disrespect that is coming because of how you handled the situation. And every time that those situations have happened, it's because someone was emotionally immature in that moment. So another way you can increase your EQ is to listen to others. Listening to them allows you to have a better understanding of how they feel and what their needs actually are. So yesterday in our class, one of the things we talked about is having a survey, making sure that if you are serving someone, that you follow up with some type of questionnaire or feedback or a survey that says, how am I doing now? You put people on the spot. If they were in front of you, you hand them their product or service, you finish the service, and you're like, yeah, so how did I do? Can you write me a review? You put it right in front of them and they're like, man, well, you know, people aren't going to really want to write, you took a week to get back to me, and I would prefer like 24 hours, 48 hours. It's hard to put people on the spot like that. It's not a good idea. So, when you're listening to others, you don't have to listen to someone rant on the phone and you feel disrespected. Put out a survey after a product that you've delivered. Ask them how they enjoyed the service. Was it timely? Were you communicative? All of those things are going to increase your emotional intelligence, because if you do that for 10 people and they say, hey, we loved everything, great, you're on the right track. If you do it for 10 people and they say, you know what, I wish that your process would have been a little more clear. I was confused about how much I had to put down. Now you know you need to switch up some stuff to make things easier for your potential customers in the future. So listen to people. When they tell you how they feel, focus on their actual needs, not, oh, someone's correcting me. I don't like that. I don't want to hear that. We don't want to be those type of individuals in our business, because your business won't really go too far if you can't make sure that your customers or your clients are satisfied, right? And then you're going to attempt to control the thoughts, you guys. Yes, it's so easy to think you can read minds. It's so easy to take a negative thought process in a situation. It's very easy. We all are guilty of that in some form or fashion, but control your thoughts. Don't make it really too much about you, unless you know deep down you have some work to do. If you're um, abrupt, if you are impatient and you're trying to run a business, you got work to do. Those are some key skills that you have to have. You have to learn to be patient as a business owner, in dealing with different clients. So if your thoughts take you to a negative, like if someone says to you, you kind of were impatient with me, I didn't like that, you just want to take it for what they said. If it was in writing, just understand it was that part. Don't start thinking like, oh, they're trying to say I'm a horrible person, or, well, if they would have did this, I would have handled it like this. Maybe next time they should do this. You don't want to think like that. You want to control your thoughts to stay focused on the task at hand, or on the understanding that you need to have in that moment, and practice directing your thoughts into a more positive realm. That's why I say 24-hour reset, because if you're really upset about something that happened in the day, give yourself up to practice it. When I started, it was like a week, and then it went down and down depending on the severity of the situation. But give yourself up to 24 hours to shift your thought process, to go from oh, I'm upset about this, to you know what? Let me find a solution to this problem. Only 24 hours. We shouldn't give too much time, and you might have to reset a few times. That's okay. But instead of blaming others when something happens, think about alternative ways to explain it within your thought process. You know what? It is true. Maybe I am maybe I can be more clear on my policies and procedures. Let me go back to the drawing board with this, or let me add an extra paragraph that talks about the time frame where it'll take for me to get this done. All of those things are important. And then be able to praise others to increase your emotional intelligence. It's not all about you. If you are an individual who, now granted, you may have a ton of great things going on, so celebrating yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you find yourself always praising yourself and not praising others, not looking at others' accomplishments or being like, well, I'm better, that is not practicing high EQ, emotional intelligence. So you need to be able to not only focus on the great things about you, but the great things about others, because you encourage others when you see the best inside of them. And if, depending on what type of business you have, this is always important. If someone, I'm a business coach, business solutionist. So for me, it's very important for my clients to know that I'm rooting for them. It's very important that the accolades that they receive, those wins, be it a big win or a small win, that I'm giving them affirmations, because that is going to help them know that I am right there with them. This is something they need to hear to continue to progress, because when we have that support, it makes us go harder. It really, really does. So understand what people need from you and give them their kudos, give them their accolades, tell them they're wonderful, they're beautiful, they deserve it, all of those things. And reflect on the criticism that others give you and grow where you can. Criticism may come to you in the form of seemingly a disrespectful way that it's said, but are you able to find wisdom out of that? Is it something that was said, maybe you didn't like how it was said, but once you use your wisdom and your emotional intelligence, you realize that it's something you could work on. That's what it's about. Understanding that, hey, the presentation wasn't my favorite, but the message is loud and clear. Those are things that you want to be able to do. And that is definitely going to increase your emotional intelligence if you can receive criticism and not, um, not let it alter your whole experience with an individual. Pay attention to body language. If someone feels uncomfortable, usually you'll be able to tell. So you want to make sure, sometimes people, when you're talking to them and you're explaining, like I also do taxes. So as I'm explaining the numbers and the forms and all these things, sometimes I see people like, what? Like frown up and like, what are you talking about? So I have to, without making someone feel like they're unintelligent, I have to think about, okay, I see that there is something not clicking with the last thing that I said. How do I reassure this person? How do I get them to understand? So one of the things I will do is, let's take a moment. Everything I said, was that understandable to you, or would you like me to go over it again? Do you need more clarity? And that is just knowing that I can read body language in those particular situations, and understand that they're feeling uncomfortable and how I'm going to make things better for them as my client, educating them where they need to be educated. Apologize, even if your intentions are misunderstood. practicing apologies is super important. Sometimes apologies are necessary, even if you're not in the wrong. A lot of times in business, you really may not be in the wrong. You really may have done the job exactly the way that you're supposed to, and maybe someone wasn't paying attention when you were explaining certain things. And so when they're upset about it, saying an apology is a huge act of humility. Being able to say, you know what? You don't have to say, I'm sorry in the sense of like, um, well, I'm sorry. What you can say is, I apologize that that information wasn't clear to you. So you're apologizing for how it was received or perceived, but you're just acknowledging you understand how that person feels. Or you can say, I apologize for this. I understand that would be frustrating. You have to do that inside of your business. That's going to keep you growing. That's going to be like, man, they rectified this situation. I was upset and then they fixed it. And so now they have a loyal customer with me because they get it. They understand me. That's what you want people to say. Viewing things from another person's viewpoint is going to increase your emotional intelligence because it's not just all about you. It's about understanding your clients and your customers to provide excellent quality services that will keep them coming back. So consider their needs, consider their emotions, all of those things, their priorities, all of those things in order to see it from their perspective. And then communicate. Communicate your feelings. Now, yes, listen, listen. You are going to find individuals that when you communicate your feelings, they become very uncomfortable with that open communication. And we're taking out speaking disrespectfully. We're talking about a tone similar to the one that I have right now, where you're saying how you feel. You know what, I found offense in this. Or the way that you spoke to me made, I took it as this. Whenever you say those type of things, someone who truly respects you is going to say, you know what? Just like I mentioned the apology, I'm sorry that what I said made you feel this way. Let's create a solution together. That is how a emotionally intelligent individual will respond. So as you're communicating your feelings, if a person is emotionally immature, their response is going to be very different. They're not going to know how to receive how you spoke to them. That may feel like an attack to a person who is emotionally immature. Like, why are you telling me how you feel? Why are you explaining calmly to me how you feel? Or, you know what? You're telling me about myself. You're telling me I need to talk to you differently. And they get offended by that. Understand that it's still a part of your truth, and it's still very important for you to still continue to communicate, even if people do not know how to receive the information that they got from you. Remain respectful, as brief as you can be, to the point, but communicate those things. Do not hold those feelings in or those words in unless you need to check yourself a little bit to make sure you're responding respectfully. If you can do the respectful response and communicate, continue to do that, because leaders, successful people, learn to communicate effectively. It's very hard to find success when that's a missing component, because you're always going to find offense. You're always not going to listen to someone and how they feel. So you're going to lack empathy. Those are really big parts of not being emotional intelligent in your communication. So just remember these things, guys. This is one of my favorite topics, because over the years I've watched not like freaky watch, like, oh, she's psycho watch, but I've actually watched individuals who I've been able to see some of those emotional intelligence levels. And inside of my business, you guys, I've also learned a lot of clients that I had over the course may have lacked emotional intelligence in certain ways and were wondering why their business isn't flourishing or why they're not connecting with their clients. And usually that's a big piece of it. So it's really nice to know these things, to practice them so that you can have success inside of your business. And that's what I'm here for. So 6 things: emotions, remember, self-awareness, self-management, self-performance, social awareness, relationship management, and other people's performance. That's the 6 ways we're going to kind of break that down for you to practice emotional intelligence. Understand yourself, know when you're upset, when you're happy, when you're anxious, any of those feelings, and work through those feelings, but be very honest with yourself. And then understand other people's feelings, how you're going to incorporate your understanding in your product or service, and then display acts of kindness, love, and patience inside of your business so that you can have a very successful one for many years to come. That's all I have for you guys today. Of course, I will be back next Wednesday, same time, 1 o'clock, to give you more information inside of your business. And as I always say, let's get it.